And now to the governor's race in New York. Incumbent Governor Kathy Hochul taking on Republican opponent Congressman Lee Zeldin last night in their only scheduled televised debate. NBC News correspondent Ron Allen joins us now. Ron, thanks for being with us. So Hochul had the lead here at one point. It was pretty big, but now the race is tightening. So this debate came at a crucial time. What were the big takeaways, and do you think anything here that will move the needle on Election Day?
I guess that remains to be seen. It was a very feisty back and forth, a lot of passion. Both candidates are not well known across the state. Hochul is the governor, but remember, she got the job when Andrew Cuomo had to resign in disgrace, and Lee Zeldin's a congressman from Long Island. So for both of them, this was an opportunity to have a big statewide audience for the first time, perhaps, in this campaign, and to really get their message out to a big audience. So both were very engaged. There were no knockout blows, no major gaffes, and we'll see what the polls do after this. And, of course, what the voters do. Early voting starts this coming weekend here.
One of Zeldin's main campaign issues is crime. I want to ask you about a couple of these issues here, actually, interestingly, similarly to the conversations that Joe just had with Mark a second ago. But crime was brought up multiple times last night, even during a discussion about abortion, actually. What is Zeldin's strategy here, and how did Hochul respond?
It's one of the pillars of his campaign. He's had campaign appearances at crime scenes in the New York subway system, which, of course, has been a big issue in terms of crime. He has been basically saying that on his first day in office that he would declare a state of emergency because of the crime problem that's happening, not just in New York City, but across the state. Here's what the candidates had to say in exchange on the issue of crime. Take a listen.
There are criminals out there who need to pay the consequences for their action instead of the catch-release policies that Kathy Hochul champions.
It is a joke to talk about a crime policy that doesn't include doing something about illegal guns. When you had the chance, as a member of Congress, to stand with other Republicans who finally said enough is enough, you were nowhere to be found, Lee.
She's referring to the congressional vote about gun safety issues that finally did happen after the shooting in Buffalo and in Uvalde. She kept pivoting back to things in Congress that Zeldin didn't support that were bipartisan, as she tried to, again, focus on the issue of guns, not just crime. So that was a lot of back and forth on that. But crime has been the issue that the polls suggest has been helping Zeldin make progress as he's trying to narrow the gap between the two of them.
Absolutely. Let's now talk about that other issue I just mentioned, abortion, of course, a hot-button topic across the country. How's it playing out here in New York?
Well, this has been Kathy Hochul's issue for the most part, reproductive rights, and she has honed in on that as the campaign has gone on. Zeldin has voted is against the Supreme Court decision on Dobbs, and so here's what they had to say about abortion. Zeldin was trying to maintain his pro-life position, but he seized on an issue about women coming into the state of New York and abortions being paid for by taxpayers to try and get around the issue somewhat. Here's what he had to say about that and Hochul's response. Take a listen.
And I've actually heard from a number of people who consider themselves to be pro-choice, who are not happy hearing that their tax dollars are being used to fund abortions many, many, many states away.
Lee, you can't run from your record. You're the only person standing on this stage whose name right now, not in years past, but right now, is on a bill called Life Begins at Conception.
As has been the case in other races across the country, abortion was a bigger issue months ago than it is now. Crime, again, seems to be the issue that's dominating and animating the race here now.
And Ron, last question before I let you go. Another issue that came up is Zeldin's ties to Trump. What impact has that had?
This is a tough one for him because Trump is not popular here in New York, of course. He is a Trump ally. He voted to not certify the results of the election. Hochul cast him as an election denier. Here's what Zeldin had to say about his ties to Trump. Take a listen.
Do you want to see Donald Trump run for president in 2024, Lee Zeldin?
Not even thinking about it. I'm focused on 14 days from today, defeating Kathy Hochul and saving New York State.
Would you vote to certify the results of the 2020 election?
The vote was on 2 states, Pennsylvania and Arizona. The issue still remains today.
He said essentially that he would not vote to certify the results of the election, sticking to that. Hochul was asked if Biden should run for president, and she said in 2024, and she said yes. A lot of national issues throughout throughout the debate here, throughout the campaign here, and that's what's making this race important. But again, this has been Kathy Hochul's race to lose, if you will. She's been ahead by double digits. There were a couple of polls last week that made it put it in the single digits, which is why there's more attention focused on this now. Yeah. But again, New York is a big, big blue state, and it seems that Hochul still has a lead, although it's just how big it is or small it is, of course, the voters will decide.
Ron Allen, thank you so much. We'll be watching.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.